Hello everyone, and welcome back to another video. This is the 7th episode of the story, where things go wrong during the last Sasuke retrieval mission, and Naruto is blamed. Tired of everything being his fault, he creates a new way of thinking that contradicts every belief he once held. The issue is that not everyone appears to be thrilled with the change. To show your support, like and subscribe. Let's get this show going. In Tsunade's office, Naruto was listening intently to what Jiraiya and Tsunade were relating about his fathers. Naruto laughed a lot after hearing his mother promising to castrate his father if she caught him reading Jiraiya's pornographic novels, but he suffered to imagine someone so pretty and gentle becoming quite vicious and making treats such as castration. After a few hours of stories, Naruto smiled upon seeing how much he now knew about his parents, and he was glad to know that both of them were admired in their respective field of work. Minato was considered the best Hokage ever to be nominated and the sole responsible for saving Konoha from the nine-tailed fox demon. Kushina was a Medicnan, whose knowledge could be compared with Tsunade had it not been for her death right after Naruto being born. Naruto was at first sad to know that even though, indirectly, he was the cause of his mother's death. However, the Hokage assured the blonde that because of the Kyuubi's attack, Kushina was suffering one major stress, therefore endangering both her and the baby. After such information, Tsunade feared that Naruto would take his wonderings to heart and begin blaming himself from his mother's death. However, she shrugged it off after seeing that he would not do such thing. After the conversation was over, Naruto thanked both of them for telling him stories about his parents and turned for the door. However, he forgot to tell the Akatsuki intel relating his mission. "Oh, I almost forgot. On my last mission, there was something that unnerved me and it came from their leader," said Naruto, to which Tsunade and Jiraiya looked at him. According to the leader, he said that we ruined his chances of entering Akatsuki and that a guy named Pain would be very mad at him. According to him, this Pain character managed some guy named Hanzo and took Haume's throne, said Naruto, making Tsunade and Jiraiya flinch at the name. Naruto knew about the history of the Sannin, therefore he was expecting them to behave like that, towards hearing someone who was able to beat an enemy to whom not even the Sannin altogether couldn't beat. "Naruto, if this is true, then we have our first lead on Akatsuki's leader. For some time, I've been keeping tracks on their members, in hopes of gathering information on their members. I'll contact my spy network to see if I can figure something about this Pain character. Hopefully, we can learn his abilities or at least know how to counter it," said Jiraiya, to which Naruto nodded and turned to leave once again, this time not turning around, leaving the Sannin thinking. "I didn't have knowledge on Hanzo being killed. Do you think the information is accurate?" asked Tsunade, to which Jiraiya turned to think. "I didn't know either, although my spy network was in fact having this suspicion. I'll need to go there and verify this myself," said Jiraiya, worrying Tsunade, since if what Naruto said is true, then Jiraiya wouldn't be able to beat someone like him, therefore she decided to use her authority on her once teammate. "You'll go but only for gathering information. I don't want you to fight this Pain, just go there and see if the story is accurate," ordered Tsunade. "I never knew you'd worry about my well-being, Haim." "Don't worry, I won't engage him in battle. I'm not stupid to go face an enemy I know nothing about. Try to remember that I'm a tracker and information gathering specialist. From now on, I won't do any more fighting, let the young and more prepared ones to do it," said Jiraiya, to which Tsunade nodded and smiled. "Yes, now leave, I have work to do," ordered Tsunade, but instantly regretted once she heard her teammates' peculiar giggling before vanishing. "Damn that pervert." With Naruto, just as Naruto left the Hokage tower, a sudden kunai appeared inches from slicing his jugular. He smiled upon seeing his girlfriend's welcome back present. Since the first time Anko sneaked behind him on Naruto's first Chunin exams, the girl seemed to love sneaking behind him again and again. However, because of their relationship, Anko wasn't limited to just rest the kunai near his neck, therefore it was safe to say that other physical contacts would be used as well. After knowing she caught her boyfriend, she blew some air at his neck, making him shiver in anticipation, and then whispered closely to his ear. "You don't know how much I've missed your body on top of mine, Naru-kun," said Anko, making Naruto's body tremble in excitement. Truth be told, Naruto wasn't much of a pervert, however there was little he could control after being hypnotized by his girlfriend. Anko for her part loved the feeling of arousing the blonde up to the point of being aroused herself just from seeing his eyes of lust practically undress her entirely just by looking at her. "What a great welcome back gift, Anko-heim. Therefore it's only fair that I give something for you in return, isn't it?" asked Naruto, almost on the verge of taking her right in front of the Hokage tower. "Oh, and what would that be, I wonder?" said Anko, licking the tip of her finger in anticipation. Without even answering, Naruto smiled deviously, grabbed Anko and began the make-out section, much to her pleasure, since at this point, Anko's blood was already boiling. Suddenly, Naruto and Anko vanished within a little tornado, appearing inside his apartment. In Naruto's apartment at first, Anko was a little bit scared of the wind being gathered around her, however because of the kiss, she knew that her boyfriend would never do anything to hurt her, so she trusted him by deepening their kiss. When they arrived in Naruto's apartment, Anko realized that she was just victim of an elemental sunshine, hence the reason for the little typhoon. "Sorry if I scared you, Anko-kun. I just didn't want the kiss to end just for us to reach somewhere private," said Naruto, to which Anko nodded and began kissing him again, already losing her trench coat and shortening their distance up to the point that her nipples were making contact with Naruto's chest, deepening their makeout section. After that, Anko pushed Naruto towards the bed and all hell broke loose. However, as the lovemaking proceeded with moans from both sides, two sounds could be heard just outside the room. One was the everlasting fangirl giggling and the other being the sound of someone writing profusely on a notebook. Of course, those two sounds were peculiar to one person. The pervert's hunch was proven correct when he saw Naruto leaving and then Anko sneaking behind the blonde. Right there, Jiraiya found the inspiration for his new book called Sadistic Icha Icha. And so, while the couple was having their fun, Jiraiya was having his, while giggling and writing his next piece of art. The next day, still oblivious to the fact that he just began the leading character of a pornographic novel, Naruto awoke and turned to look at the person who changed his life for the best. He remembered her when he was only 12 and being threatened by her kunai and grinned on the thought of telling other about how they meet each other. It would be quite humorous to see others' faces when he told the couple's history. After a while, a couple of mumblings from Anko, since she was never a morning person, she awoke only to see her boyfriend coming back from the kitchen, with bottled milk on his hand. "Had a good night's sleep, Haim?" asked Naruto, to which Anko smiled, while remembering the interaction yesterday. "Well, of course, I did. What we did before was even better," mumbled Anko, right now remembering him doing stuff to her that would scare even most perverts. "That was great, however I'm not sure, but I thought I heard someone giggling outside," thought Naruto, clearly not even aware of what happened. "Giggling? Well, the only one," said Anko, but stopped once she realized to whom belonged the supposed giggling. Anko, being one of the hottest kunoikis in Konoha, were sometimes target of the perverted sanins peeping at the bathhouses and the constant giggles that managed to piss her off entirely. "Naruto, I believe we were just victims of a pervert," said Anko, making Naruto realize what his girlfriend meant. Suddenly, his assassin eyes flared for a moment and he vanished, leaving a slightly scared, but more turned on than ever Anko. "Man, I'm even more sadistic than I thought." "Oh well, when he arrives, maybe we can do it in the shower," thought Anko as she headed to the shower, while waiting for her boyfriend to arrive. With Jiraiya completely oblivious of the fact he was being hunted right now, Jiraiya was walking towards the streets of Konoha in peace. His book was almost done and he should thank Naruto and Anko for that. Never before he had such creativity, and he'd be sure to give both Naruto and Anko at least 5% of the profits. Suddenly, a huge gust of wind sent him flying and he knew it was a chakra-based wind. When he landed, though, he saw the blonde looking pretty angry at him and knew that he was caught. "Jiraiya-sama, tell me something. Were you spying on me yesterday?" asked Naruto, scaring Jiraiya a little bit. Right now, he was cursing himself from not leaving when he had the chance, and now that Naruto knew what the pervert did, Naruto wouldn't be the only blonde who would be quite mad of him. However, as Naruto was about to demand explanations, the other blonde arrived and now Jiraiya feared for his manhood. "Naruto, what the hell happened here? I've received news of a sudden gust of wind blowing every business on the main street and then I see it threatening Jiraiya," asked Tsunade, a little worried about what the pervert did to the blonde. "I have suspicions of this pervert spying on me and Anko-kun yesterday, doing that stuff," said Naruto. However, none of the two males were prepared to see Tsunade blushing a little bit, making Naruto become even more suspicious of prior attempts of peeping in his private time with Anko. Jiraiya smiled deviously at this since he pretty much finished his book with us. About that, Naruto, I kind of spied on you and Anko-san as well one time," said Tsunade, to which a sweat drop appeared on Naruto's head. Jiraiya for his part was already thinking of a second volume of Sadistic Icha Icha. He knew that Tsunade often spied on people with the Sandame's magic ball, therefore she could have even more material for him. Meanwhile, Naruto was fuming. "Is it too much to be asking for some privacy, damn it? Man, I never knew the Senins were such a pervert. I wouldn't be surprised if Orochimaru appeared and confessed that he liked to group little boys," said Naruto, to which Jiraiya and Tsunade rolled their eyes, as in trying to hold a secret, therefore making Naruto's eyes go wider each second. "So, he does like little boys," said Naruto and began laughing his ass off. The Kyuubi inside of him also began to laugh, but because of his fame, Naruto would never know if he found it amusing or not. "Okay, I'll be back to my girlfriend, she would like to hear this," said Naruto, before vanishing and returned to his apartment, leaving the two senins looking at each other. "I know that you'll put those two in that book of yours and I want the first copy of it. You hear me?" ordered Tsunade, to which Jiraiya just nodded and turned to leave. Once he teleported inside, he heard the noise of water and knew that Anko was taking a shower. "Naruto-kun, is that you? Come join me if you want to," said Anko, to which Naruto smiled and took off his clothes. After all, seeing his girlfriend wet and naked wasn't a sight he would lose anytime soon. In Tsunade's office after the whole interaction concerning Jiraiya's next book, Tsunade returned to her office in order to proceed with the goddamn paperwork. Since she was nominated for the position of goddamn Hokage, she was devising plans to get rid of her worst enemy. However, there was little she could do, and the reason was her first apprentice Shizune. However, as she was reading a report of a failed C-ranked mission near Wave Country, a knock was heard on her door and a familiar figure entered. "Tsunade, how are you in this fine morning?" asked Aoi, making Tsunade wonder about the smile on the usually stoic man's face. "I'm fine, I see that Konoha is being good to you, Oizen. In 20 years, I don't think I've ever seen you smile," said Tsunade, to which Aoi grinned, since he now could tell her the reason of the visit. "Well, Konoha is great and all, but that's not why I'm smiling. You see, in all my years of active ninja duty, I was never able to find someone worthy of receiving my tutelage. However, never I would have realized that the chosen one would be residing here in Konoha," said Aoi. Tsunade, after hearing this, wondered who could Aoi possibly meet that was able to call his attention. Aoi was known as being a perfectionist ninja. Therefore, it was safe to say that whoever the man found would be at least a Jounin level ninja. "Ah, I see, so tell me who the lucky shinobi is?" asked Tsunade, clearly forgetting about the paperwork and focusing on the man's choice. "That Chunin who happened to bring me here, Uzumaki Naruto," said Aoi, to which Tsunade got worried. Aoi participated in the Leaf Iwa War and he well knew how Minato managed to kill a lot of the Iwa shinobi force, and now the man wants to train the son of the man responsible for Iwa losing the war. Of course, Aoi, being an experienced shinobi, knew of the woman's suspicion, and truth be told he would be as well, if he was in her position. However, he knew better than ever, thinking about Iwa. "Tsunade, please do not think that I would try anything with the boy, just because of who his father was. He picked my interest the day I saw him train. He also told me that he'd be facing S-ranked missing nins in the future and wanted to become stronger. He has everything I wish for my apprentice to have," said Aoi, to which Tsunade nodded. "Even with your training, I don't think he could take on S-ranked missing nins, not yet. He has the skills, but not the experience needed for such a feat," thought Tsunade out loud, earning nothing than laughter from Aoi, who turned to enlighten the woman a little bit. Experience is in fact valuable in a fight, but superior skills can overcome even the most experienced shinobi. I'm no expert on Konoha's history, but I believe that Hatake Kakashi and Uchiha Itachi were on bull-level shinobi by the age of 13. Now, with his chakra capacity and knowledge both in ninjutsu and kenjutsu, Naruto is bearing A-ranked level. With my training, he could be S-ranked, said Aoi. "Okay, but why would you come in here and tell me this? You're not a shinobi of the Leaf, therefore out of my jurisdiction. You can do what you want," asked Tsunade, already aware of what the man came to ask, but it didn't hurt to hear his reasons. "While I'm not a shinobi under the Leaf, my apprentice is. So, I'm here to pay for an A-ranked training mission for him plus one Jounin from Konoha, preferably Kakashi," requested Aoi before landing the amount of money needed for the mission. "Why do you request Kakashi?" asked Tsunade, to which Aoi chose to reply. "Kakashi shares a bond with the boy. Together, the two of them will be a force to be recognized in the future. But Naruto needs more fighting experience, so I and Kakashi will be his sparring partner," said Aoi, to which Tsunade nodded and started to write the mission request and the name of the shinobis that will carry the mission out. "Okay, mission accepted, Oizen. I'll be calling Naruto and Kakashi to relate them the mission. I'll reserve training ground number 43, is wide and pretty far from the village center. The mission will start in 4 hours, said Tsunade, to which Aoi nodded, smiled and vanished, leaving Tsunade to go fetch Naruto and Kakashi. With Kakashi right in the middle of the street, Kakashi was seen reading his all-time favorite book. He didn't have a destination in particular, but he was always amused upon seeing women glare at him for reading the novel in public. Few people actually knew that, but Kakashi's most prized hobby was to provoke his peers only to see their reaction. That's why no matter how much his rival Might Ogai screams, Kakashi would always look at him and ask if he said anything. Suddenly, coming towards him was a couple he knew perfectly well. Naruto and Anko were coming side by side while sharing a conversation. Apparently, Naruto was telling something funny to Anko, because she seemed to be trying to hold falling on the ground from laughter. "Well, hello there," Naruto greeted Kakashi with a deep smile on his face, to which Naruto returned as well, before being interrupted by Anko falling on the ground, laughing so much that she was holding her stomach. Kakashi for his part looked at the blonde, wanting an explanation. Naruto, after realizing that his sensei wanted to hear, decided to explain. "I was just telling Anko how I've heard some peculiar information about the snake Sanin Orochimaru," said Naruto, now earning Kakashi's attention. However, no amount of shinobi experience could prepare the silver-haired jounin for what he was about to hear. "Orochimaru often enjoys the company of little boys," said Naruto, making Kakashi go wide-eyed and remember that his other student was there with the snake Sanin. Safe to say Kakashi was also on the ground laughing. At that moment, Rikimaru appeared carrying a message from the Hokage when he saw his friend on the ground holding his stomach laughing and Naruto looking at him, also carrying a smile. "How is going, Rikimaru-san?" asked Naruto, to which the Anbu nodded and turned to relate the message. "I'm fine as I'll ever be. The Hokage summoned both you and Kakashi," said the Anbu, then vanished, leaving the blonde Chunin and two Jounins getting up. "That was funny. Let's go, Naruto," said Kakashi, to which Naruto nodded and turned to Anko, who in turn smiled and kissed him deeply. "Don't worry, Naruto-kun. I always knew that you'd be highly requested in missions. For some time, Sundaime called me for most of the solo B-ranked missions." "Don't worry," said Anko, earning a smile from the blonde and then a deep kiss. After Naruto broke the kiss, he began to whisper only for Anko to hear. "When I come back, how about we continue our bath elsewhere?" asked Naruto, to which Anko smiled deviously at the blonde. "I'll definitely think of a place for that," whispered Anko. However, even though they were whispering, Kakashi heard everything and already wished for the next volume of Icha Icha to be something among those lines. Oh, how surprised he will be, after he discovers that his dreams would become reality in the future. At Tsunade's office, when Naruto and Kakashi appeared at Tsunade's office, the Hokage was wondering why the hell the silver-haired jounin was trying to hold his laughter as much as he could. Upon looking at the blonde for an explanation, he simply shrugged it off as in having nothing to do with it. However, the blonde was compromised when Kakashi said between now uncontrollable laughter, how it would be like seeing Orochimaru playing with one Uchiha Sasuke. After hearing this, Tsunade shrugged it off since the snake wasn't around anymore to complain about it. "As much as I find it amusing to hear this kind of stuff about the snake, we need to speak about an A-ranked mission you two you'll be performing," said Tsunade, earning the attention of the two and then proceeding with the debriefing. "A couple years ago, formerly was Anbu captain and now Konoha citizen Oizen requested this mission and he asked for both of you personally," said Tsunade, to which Kakashi instantly got suspicious. "Oh, and before you get all stiff about it, Kakashi, don't. Aoi has great interest in training our blonde here, so he requested an A-rank training mission for Naruto and you as training assistant. According to him, he saw Naruto training one day and was interested in passing his abilities," said Tsunade, now making room for questions. However, there was none since Naruto was satisfied with the mission as well as Kakashi, since he would be present in case the man tried anything. "Okay, since there are no questions, your new sensei is waiting at training ground number 43 right now. The training will have a month time, beginning today. Kakashi, you are to help Naruto in any way possible as well as present 2 reports, being one in 15 days from now and one final one at the end. I need you to evaluate Naruto's level at the end and present your conclusion of his abilities. Naruto, I think you already know of the reason pertaining the report, but if you don't, Kakashi will evaluate at the end if you're ready to face Akatsuki level ninjas and Uchiha Sasuke if needed be," explained Tsunade, to which both nodded and left the room towards the designated training area. With Naruto and Kakashi deciding to walk towards the training ground, Naruto and Kakashi was sharing a conversation pertaining the Uchiha's level by now and his elemental ninjutsu affinities. According to Kakashi, Sasuke had 2 affinities, being that Katen and Raiten. Naruto also learned that Sasuke learned how to manipulate Raiten chakra in 1 day and was able to learn the Chidori in 2 days, demonstrating the ability of his Sharingan. Speaking of the Sharingan, Naruto needed a way to counter the effects of the Dojutsu, but seeing that he had Kakashi to spar against, he could find a way to fight the Sharingan. Naruto, though, wasn't worried about the Sharingan, simply because of the usage of Kage Bunshines. However, he was afraid of Orochimaru's curse seal being active during the fight. Kakashi nodded and also shared such concern, since he knew that in that case Naruto would need to use the Kyuubi's power, and that was something he didn't wish to do unless it was utterly necessary. "Naruto, the curse seal has a weakness, however you'll need to play dirty in order to use that weakness," said Kakashi, to which Naruto looked at him, wondering what he was talking about. However, before he could ask, the silver-haired scarecrow beat his question. The curse seal, when active, kind of transformed the user into a monster, completely driven by his emotions, then, not able to think clearly. "Also, you know as much as I do, that by mentioning Itachi's name to him, he becomes enraged, therefore using more chakra than necessary," said Kakashi. "I see. However, Sasuke Sharingan could detect if I'm lying or not. How would I get past this? Should I revert to use such low tactic?" asked Naruto, to which Kakashi smiled, seeing that Naruto wouldn't do that to Sasuke. Kakashi knew that Naruto would like to beat the Uchiha fair and square, without using outside sources. However, Sasuke wouldn't even consider not using the curse seal against Naruto, which could possibly mean trouble. Although the blonde was strong, not even seasoned jounins could go up against the level 2 curse seal. Very admirable of you, however you have to realize that he wouldn't mind using the power of the curse seal against you, meaning that he'll have the advantage. In this case, you'll need to watch yourself. Remember, strategy in a fight can save your life. Therefore, if you end up facing him, try not to show much of your abilities right away, instead try to gauge his abilities first, said Kakashi, to which Naruto nodded and turned to reply. "You're right, although it's safe to say that I will be underestimated by him a lot," smiled Naruto, to which Kakashi concurred. "Yeah, he will. Sasuke has a weakness that is his excessive pride, and that can be his downfall if you use it wisely. However, let's not dwell at this any further than we have to. Aoi's abilities are a legend among Iwagakure and Konohagakure. If you manage to acquire it, Sasuke definitely will have trouble following your moves," said Kakashi, as they reached the designated training ground. Training ground number 43. When the two reached the training ground, they spotted Naruto-sensei resting near a tree while waiting for his student and possibly prodigy. Upon looking, Naruto and Kakashi realized that the man was carrying a katana tied on his waist, which meant that Naruto would get kenjutsu lessons as well. "Welcome, Naruto. As Sanadaime told you, you'll be training with me for the duration of 1 month. Therefore, today we'll be fixing your time schedule," said Aoi, to which Naruto nodded. "However, before you begin, please hand me your Chunin vest for a moment, will you?" asked Aoi, to which Naruto complied and handed the vest. Suddenly, Aoi began to channel earth-type chakra through the vest, therefore adding a couple of pounds to the vest. When Aoi returned the vest to Naruto, the blonde struggled a bit to even stand. "Could you please explain why the hell you did to my vest?" screamed Naruto as he was using every bit of his strength to even stand, to which Kakashi smiled. "Naruto, Aoi's fighting style uses high speed and powerful muscles. Therefore, you'll need to get accustomed to the overweight," said Kakashi, to which Aoi nodded and turned to explain. As Kakashi here explained, "We'll be enhancing your muscles and speed. So, you'll need to get accustomed to the weight of the vest, also we'll improve your agility. Now, apart from physical training, I'll teach you some high-ranked Doten jutsus, and since you so like to create jutsus, all three of us will create high-ranked Fuuten jutsus," said Aoi now that Naruto managed to get up from the heavy weight. "Okay, I presume this week will be just physical training, then?" asked Naruto, to which Aoi and Kakashi nodded. "Right, now first we need you to get accustomed to the vest. So pump chakra through your legs and starts running," said Aoi, to which Naruto nodded and started the exercise. As Naruto ran, with significant effort, since the vest was quite heavy, Aoi and Kakashi just stood there watching. "Now, keep running, Naruto. From what I know, you've hardly ever got tired, right? So, with my training, you'll be lucky if you'll be able to stand. Now, after you get accustomed with the vest, we'll test how you mold chakra with the extra weight." 1 hour later, after an hour of running, Naruto was feeling weird like he never before. He was sweating and almost kneeling on the ground because of the exercise. Aoi smiled while Kakashi was impressed at the man's teachings. Of course, it didn't mean that he couldn't drive his student nuts with training, but he'd never think of such a tiresome method. Aoi's method was to get used to the extra weight on the body by using chakra, therefore not only using physical but spiritual energy as well. "Good job. Actually, you were able to hold more than I thought you would. Now let's see you mold chakra to do a B-level ninjutsu. You can choose the element," said Aoi. "Sutensurii Dan no Jutsu, Water Style, Water Dragon Projectile Jutsu." After that, near the lake a huge dragon made of water was formed, but was something wrong with the dragon's shape and of course power. The dragon's head wasn't formed right and the attack wasn't as powerful as it should be. You could have used a less powerful attack, Naruto. However, the point was made. Because of the extra weight and all the running, it will be tougher to control the chakra molding, said Aoi, to which Naruto nodded while panting on the ground. Man, when you said I'd be lucky if I would be standing, you aren't kidding, said Naruto, earning a smile from Aoi. Kakashi for his part smiled as well. Man, I'd pay to see the day you actually got tired, Naruto. I didn't expect this would happen anytime soon, said Kakashi. However, Kakashi froze when Naruto looked at him and smiled. Whoever said I'm tired, Kakashi-sensei? While my muscles are strained, my chakra capacity is nowhere near low. The only problem is chakra control. While I have enough chakra to last a couple of hours, I'd need to at least have tree walking level chakra control to finish, and then I will be exhausted, said Naruto, to which Aoi smiled and Kakashi understood while mentally wondering how much Naruto could withstand, without suffering from chakra exhaustion or physical fatigue. Right, we'll end here for the day, Naruto. Now as you relax your muscles, here is a scroll with 4 high-level Doten techniques I gathered up for you. There are the following: Doten Q Magician, Earth Style, Fierce Earthquake Jutsu, Doten Diodoho no Jutsu, Earth Style, Mud Cannon Jutsu, Doten Urasu Yasha, Earth Style, Rock Catapult Jutsu, and Doten Iwa Yado Kuzushi, Earth Style, Stone Lodging Destruction, said Aoi, earning an enthusiastic nod from Naruto. Now, you'll have to wear the vest until you sleep. The reason for this is for you to get accustomed faster and, said Aoi, but was interrupted by a grumbling Naruto who seriously wished that Aoi was still a missing, and to which both older men laughed. Stop complaining, Naruto. You still have 1 month with me. Now, you'll have to learn these jutsus by the end of the week, said Aoi, to which Naruto nodded and turned to go home, quite tired from the exercise. At Naruto's house upon arrival, Naruto left the scroll on top of the dining table and went to the bathroom so as to freshen up a bit. After he left, he came across a note that said that Anko was sent away on a mission towards Wave Country with D-Mate that would take an entire month. Apparently, some thugs are causing some commotion over there and cleaning it up would take a while. Sighing a little bit from the lack of his girlfriend's company for the month, Naruto made it to the kitchen and fixed himself a bowl of ramen before looking at the scrolls. 3 minutes later, Naruto set the bowl of noodles on the table and began to eat while reading the scroll. Naruto, as we discussed in this scroll, there are listed 4 high-level techniques that I'm sure you'll be able to learn. However, these notes are for Shinobis who are aligned with the Doten affinity. And since you don't have a Doten affinity, we'll have to learn the harder way, by practicing until perfection. In this scroll, you'll find all the theory needed to perform the techniques. After memorizing it, practice with the knowledge you already have on Doten and Jutsu. Sadistic bastard, he didn't even cut me some slack with this training. Doesn't matter though, I'll be able to perform these techniques by the end of the week, said Naruto as he began to read the scroll. Upon reading, he was quite impressed by his sensei's method of explaining Doten and Jutsu. Rather than pure theory, Aoi had written his experience while doing these techniques, therefore showing how to do it. A while later, as Naruto was finishing with the second technique, he heard someone knocking on a door. Quickly catching his katana, he went to the door and opened it, ready for a vertical attack. However, when he opened the door, he became face to face with Sarutobi Asuma, who by this time dropped his cigarette and waved for Naruto to hold his attack. Azuma-sensei, sorry about the sword, I wasn't expecting any visit this time around, said Naruto, confused as to why Asuma would visit him of all people. That's okay, Naruto, I just wanted to talk with you for a minute, can I come in? Asked the bearded shinobi, to which the blonde nodded and ushered Asuma in. As Asuma entered, he began to scan Naruto's apartment a little bit. A bit too organized for his taste, but the place was comfortable. On top of the table, there laid a scroll, to which Asuma smiled upon seeing that the blonde indeed changed for the better. Can I get you anything, Azuma-sensei? Sorry, I don't have much to offer, since normally people don't come for visit, said Naruto, although not even fazed about the prospect of being withdrawn from society, making Asuma mentally flinch upon speaking like this in such casual manner, like it was normal. Thanks, I already ate. Actually, Kurenai asked me to tell you that she and Anko would be away for a while and that they wanted to gather for dinner, said Asuma, to which Naruto nodded. Fine by me, I'll be staying in Konoha for a while, said Naruto before he began to read the scroll once again. What are you reading over there? Asked Asuma, clearly interested in what techniques the youngster generation is reading these days. Oh, only some theory regarding Doten and Jutsu, no big deal, said Naruto, to which Asuma smiled. Doten, you say? I'm guessing it because it's your affinity, then? Asked Asuma, to which Naruto immediately nodded, correcting the bearded shinobi. No, actually I don't have a Doton affinity. I just happen to have some interest in learning Doton in jutsu. In fact, my affinities are quite the opposite from Doton, said Naruto, not even bothering to look at the man's face, not because Naruto didn't like him, but because of the third technique that was listed on the scroll. Asuma, for his part, wondered about what Naruto meant by affinities in plural. At the Chunin exams, Asuma saw Naruto perform 3 types of elemental ninjutsu, that being Futon, Suten and Doton. However, he didn't bother at the time to know about what element he was aligned with. Asuma knew from experience that managing to learn 3 elements by the age of 16 was almost impossible to do, and he knew Naruto wouldn't be considered a genius like Uchiha Itachi. Out of curiosity, Naruto, which element you're aligned with? Asked Asuma, to which Naruto took his eyes from the scroll and looked at the older Jounin for a moment. The blonde knew for a fact that telling others his strength like that would mean his death, if someone was spying on him from outside. However, he couldn't sense any presence nearby, so he relaxed. My affinities are Fu-Uten and Suten, with Fu-Uten being the primary affinity and Suten being the second, said Naruto, satisfying the bearded man's curiosity. Also, Asuma was smiling from knowing another Fu-Uten user. For a while, then, Naruto and Asuma began a conversation about Fu-Uten techniques, missions and taijutsu/kenjutsu styles of fighting. After that, Asuma bid his goodbye to Naruto, who returned to reading about the last jutsu on the scroll. Next day, as expected, Naruto had arrived at training grounds number 43 earlier than it was supposed to be. The reason was because he thought he was late and speed up to arrive, only to see that either Aoi or Kakashi was there yet. Naruto was afraid that Aoi would be as late as his silver-haired sensei. However, he found that since no one was around, maybe he could rest for a while, seeing that he ran with his now overweight vest on. So, he chose the next tree and just sat there, waiting for both of his senseis to arrive. After an hour had passed and yet no sign of any of them, which meant that either they forgot about the mission, which was unlikely, or they were mocking him. Not being one to remain resting for long, Naruto chose to begin the exercises by channeling chakra through his legs and starts running around the training ground. While he was running, sometimes he would use his Fu-Uten supplementary technique called Fu-Uten Bakushin, wind style, dash jutsu. When Aoi and Kakashi arrived, at the same time, both of them saw Naruto now jumping between trees while apparently using Fu-Uten chakra on occasions for a little push. I told you, he wouldn't wait for us, Kakashi-san. It seems you don't know your student like you said you do, said Aoi, to which Kakashi scratched his head, imagining Naruto screaming you were late at both him and Aoi, but then he wasn't surprised seeing that Naruto did enjoy the concept of alone training from time to time. Naruto, would you come down for a second? Screamed Aoi, earning the blonde's attention, thus heading towards the pair of late senseis. Well, better late than never, at least, right Kakashi-sensei, said Naruto, to which Kakashi smiled and turned to Aoi for him to talk about the next part of the training. We apologize for the delay, now seeing that you've already got accustomed to the vest, we'll head to the mountains over there, said Aoi, while pointing towards the specific region. Naruto and Kakashi for his part looked at the older ex-shinobi in puzzlement as to why they would train in there. However, when they saw the old man smiling, Naruto at least regretted even more of the day he brought this sadistic man to Konoha. At the mountains, man, this way I'll die before facing either Akatsuki or Sasuke, said Naruto as he slammed one kunai at the mountain and looked down for a moment. The exercise was simple, climb the mountain up to the top of it. However, simple didn't mean easy. Actually, Naruto couldn't use chakra, therefore he was limited to the use of kunais to climb the mountain. Meanwhile, on top of the mountains, Kakashi and Aoi were discussing the reason behind doing such an exercise. Truth be told, Kakashi had to endure a much tougher exercise, where he only had one hand to use, since the other was tied by a weight ball. However, using only kunai was new even to him. Aoi explained that Iwa Shinobi does this training for endurance purposes, and be able to improve the climbing with kunai was tougher than using bare hands, since not only it was a foreign concept, but also one has to stab the kunai harder only for the weapon to be able to hold his weight while climbing. After a while, the noise of kunai stabbing rock was heard and Naruto appeared almost on the verge of collapsing from exhaustion. Good, Naruto. 2 hours and 20 minutes, not bad. Now rest for a bit and then we'll see how your combat skills will be hindered because of the overweight, said Aoi, to which Naruto nodded and sit down with force, lifting some dust because of it. While he was down, collecting his breath for maybe the first time in his life, Naruto was pondering on the man's training regime. Man, never have I got such a slave driver for a sensei. Kakashi was okay, but he was obliged to teach only the Uchiha. The pervert Sanin only wanted me to control the fox's chakra. Hell, But Aoi is pushing me to my very limit, thought Naruto as he watched the two older shinobi locked into some kind of conversation. After a period of 15 minutes for recovery, Naruto got up and stretched a little bit. The other, seeing that the blonde was rested, moved towards to him. So, now that you've rested somewhat, it's time for us to have a little spar with one another. Naruto, first, you'll spar using only taijutsu with Kakashi here and then you'll be sparring in kenjutsu against me, said Aoi, to which Naruto nodded and walked away to get in a fighting position. Kakashi smiled at the prospect of a rematch between the two, went towards Naruto and set up a fighting stance a few steps away from the blonde. Not even needing an authorization, both shinobis charged against each other and were matched with fist meeting fist. After that, Kakashi used his other arm to strike Naruto, to which the blonde merely used the same arm to block Kakashi's strike and then swing his legs for a kick that would be aimed at Kakashi's chest. Had the silver-haired Jounin not blocked Naruto's foot and counterattacked with a kick off his own, which managed to hit Naruto on the side. After hitting Naruto, Kakashi found it strange at first that although Naruto saw the attack coming, he wasn't able to react in time to either dodge or block the incoming kick. However, he then remembered that Naruto was wearing his overweight vest and this little exercise was to gauge how much would affect Naruto's movements in the first run. Naruto, as I'm sure you saw the attack coming, I'm also sure that because of the vest, you couldn't evade the attack on time, said Aoi, to which Naruto nodded and held the area where Kakashi hit him. Damn it, Kakashi-sensei, that was one hell of a kick, mumbled Naruto, making the silver-haired Jounin smile and then replied. That was payback from those jutsus you used on me on our last spar. Now we're even, said Kakashi. Deciding that the kenjutsu spar would be worthless right now, Aoi moved to another subject. Naruto, since Kakashi's attack was unavoidable, it is safe to say that a sword attack would be even worse, so let's move on for a bit, shall we? We'll be doing more physical training until you get accustomed with the vest. But first, let's see about the jutsus you read yesterday. Show me the first one. Actually, try making the smaller version of the first one called Doden Jishin no Jutsu, Earth Style, Earthquake Jutsu, said Aoi, to which Naruto nodded. While traveling through the hand seals just like he remembered from the scroll, Naruto was able to mold the correct chakra. Seeing that he already molded the attack, he slammed both his hands on the ground and the mountain started to shake violently. Aoi, for his part, was both amazed and angry at Naruto. While he did the correct seals and the correct chakra molding, he ended up using more chakra than it was needed for the technique, therefore doing the Doden Kyumu Jishin, Earth Style, Fierce Earthquake Jutsu. Naruto, although I'm pleased to see that you made the first technique of the scroll, you seem to have used more chakra than it was necessary, therefore being totally unacceptable. While on a fight, you'll need to save as much chakra as possible, so not to get killed or taken by surprise, said Aoi, but was interrupted by the silver-haired Jounin, who decided to enlighten the Exiwa Anbu on the blonde situation. Oizen, even though Naruto's chakra control is above average, he has a rather large chakra capacity, therefore being quite difficult to use the correct amount of chakra for each specific jutsu. Don't worry, though, he'll never run out of chakra, said Kakashi, to which Aoi nodded and dismissed it, since he knew about the Kyubi being inside of the blonde, therefore chakra wouldn't be a problem to the blonde. Okay, Naruto, now about the second jutsu of the scroll, can you make it? Asked Aoi, to which Naruto nodded in the negative. Not yet. I'm having some doubts as to the mud part. At first, I thought it would be like the Doden Shoryuki, Earth Style, Earth Wall Jutsu, however I can't seem to know how I can expel mud like a cannon does, said Naruto, to which Aoi turned to think about it. As I expected, learning these Doden jutsus would be tough for you since it's not your affinity and all, but we'll just have to practice until you can succeed. Now, I'm going to demonstrate the technique and explain how I do it, okay? Said Aoi as he progressed through the hand seals and opened his mouth, releasing a fast shot of mud at a rock that was nearby, making a hole on it. After forming the mud, you need to gather as much chakra and air you can through your lungs. Once good enough, you simply open your mouth and exhale the shot with the air-powered chakra, sending the mud further like a cannon, said Aoi, to which Naruto nodded and then turned to the older man for what to do next. Right, well, next part of the training, you're going to go down this mountain once again without the use of chakra, while me and Kakashi here will be using Doden Iwayato Kuzushi, Earth Style, stone lodging destruction at you, meaning that boulders will be rolling down at you. Your objective is to dodge the boulders while running downhill, literally, said Aoi, making Naruto shiver and Kakashi to sweat drop, seeing that the man's objective was to kill Naruto through training him for death. 1 week later, 1 week after the beginning of the training, Naruto was already accustomed to the overweight vest and was already able to fight against Kakashi and Aoi without worrying about acting on time. Also, he managed to perform all the techniques listed on the scroll, therefore learning all the ninjutsu that he would learn from the Ex-Uchiha Shinobi. Also, Kakashi and Aoi were surprised to see that Naruto's muscles were enhanced quite a bit, and the reason was that Naruto, after the 4th day of training, began to lift boulders around. Now, the three were gathered to discuss the following weeks of training. So far, Aoi told Naruto that the physical training would be enhanced simply because after getting accustomed to the old training, doing it again would be pointless. Also, since Naruto aimed to be a jutsu inventor sometime in the future, Kakashi was there with him to help him with the creation of new ones to use. So Naruto, according to Aoi here, you have a like for new jutsus, so let's hear about your ideas? Asked Kakashi, to which Naruto nodded and turned to think out loud. Well, there are a couple of Fuuten techniques that I was thinking about. First of them is to create a dome around a certain point. I picture this after being trapped inside a dome made of earth by one of Orochimaru's men on the Uchiha retrieval, said Naruto, to which Kakashi turned to reply. That's not a bad idea for a jutsu, but the bad side of Fuuten ninjutsu is that it's tough enough to be able to control the element at the palm of your hand or a weapon you're carrying, however focusing on a certain point it's almost impossible. However, I know of a technique that Asuma once used that was able to create a little typhoon around a certain object and turn to control such object through controlling the typhoon around it, said Kakashi, while thinking a little bit. Fuuten Suiran Reppu, wind style, verdant mountains violent wind, said Aoi, earning the attention of the Chunin and Jounin. Kakashi, having remembered the technique, nodded and turned to Naruto to explain it, since now he remembered how Asuma did it. Yes, now I remember. I'll explain to you later about it. Now what of the other one you're thinking about, asked Kakashi, earning a suspicious smile from the blonde, thus making Kakashi suddenly uneasy with himself. Ever since Naruto and Anko began to date, Anko's devious smile was slowly being passed to the blonde, and now whenever Naruto smiled that way, something really bad would happen. The second technique I was thinking about, it would be a Fuuten version of your Reikiri called Fuuten Kazikiri, wind style, wind edge jutsu, said Naruto, making Kakashi go wide-eyed at what his student was implying. Kakashi was considered a genius of his time, and thus creating an S-ranked ninjutsu like the Reikiri, lightning edge, labeled him as the one of the elite of Konoha. Now, seeing his student, the supposed dead last of his generation, attempting the same thing was nothing short of amazing. You just keep surprising me, Naruto. It took me quite a lot of time to create the Reikiri, though it wouldn't surprise me if you were able to create your technique in no time with the aid of Kage Bunshine, smiled Kakashi towards his student, still flabbergasted at the idea of Naruto being a silent prodigy all this time. Aoi was just enjoying the conversation and somehow impressed by the boy's balls on trying to change the element of a technique. Speaking of Aoi, the old man was quite thrilled on seeing how Naruto was progressing due to his method of training. Truth be told, Aoi wasn't sure if the boy or anyone could live through this type of training. However, because of his healing abilities, courtesy of the fox, Naruto could endure what most couldn't, and that thought kept dwelling on his mind to think that Naruto may be able in the end to perform Aoi's S-ranked Doden ninjutsu. The Doden Tetsu Toride, Earth Style, Iron Fortress Jutsu, was Aoi's prize technique and was able to protect Iwa's walls against multiple attacks from Konoha's forces back at the war. Such jutsu was labeled as a kinjutsu by the Sun Daimate Tsushikage and was enlisted at their forbidden ninjutsu scroll, simply because of the amount of chakra necessary to perform the technique, let alone be able to sustain it. Aoi was able to hold the fortress for only 2 minutes before collapsing from chakra exhaustion. However, Naruto do have the chakra necessary to use this technique should Konoha be attacked by some very powerful force in the future. Now, since we have 2 more jutsus to learn, how about trying to complete them, or at least one of them, in the end of this week? Asked Aoi, to which Kakashi looked at him as in he was crazy and deaf. Oizen, I don't think you listened before. It took me 3 years to master the Reikiri, what makes you think that Naruto can do it in a week? Asked Kakashi, gaining a nod from Naruto as well, since he agreed with his first sensei on this one. Say Kakashi, how much days there are in 3 years? 1080 days, correct? After Kakashi nodded, the man continued. So, Naruto would have 7 days to finish this technique of his. Now, you told me that Naruto can manage up to 200 Kage Bunshines and still continue the training, right? So, in 1 week, wouldn't you say that the boy could do what you did in 3 years? Asked Aoi, though clearly making a statement, making the silver-haired Jounin send his jaws on the ground at such implication. Truth be told, he was the sole inventor of this Kage Bunshine training, however, knowing how much he suffered while trying to create the lightning edge, He couldn't find it possible to do such a thing in a week. However, upon seeing the old man's reasoning, he found that he couldn't counter such an argument, simply because it was the truth. Naruto could train in a week what the silver-haired Jounin only could in 3 years' time. However, since Naruto's 2 techniques concepts are hard enough, let us use 1 week for each of them, okay? Suggested Aoi, to which Naruto nodded since he was okay with it. However, Kakashi was still in deep wondering about the true powerhouse that is his student. Damn it, if Naruto wanted, he could learn all the jutsus in this village in only a year. Thought Kakashi as he was facing probably a better ability than the Sharingan that can copy the jutsu. With the Kage Bunshin, Naruto could learn and master the jutsu in an hour, which most shinobis manage it under a day. Thought Kakashi as he saw the blonde going through some series of physical exercises, now being on top of water. With Anko and teammate while Naruto was training his ass off, teammate and Mitarashi Anko was having their fun taking care of an army made of some bandits and level criminals that was reported to cause some commotion around the country. Right now, Kurenai, Anko, Hinata, Shino, Kiba and Akamaru were heading to Tazuna's home after a little cleanup on one of the criminals' base north from the capital. The mission was simple: get in and dispose of the foes. However, for the first time in her life, Anko wished she was back in Konoha right now. Or at least that Naruto would be sent with her for this mission. Although Kurenai was with her, thus having someone to talk to, Anko was left with a whiny brat, a stoic Bugaser, a fleabag and a timid Hyuga. On the way back, Anko was staring at the timid Hyuga, who was feeling a little unease from the staring. Anko knew from Kurenai that this Hinata person always had a crush on Anko's boyfriend, and from what the Genjutsu mistress told her, Hinata was still due to know about Naruto's involvement with purple-haired Kunoichi. Kurenai, upon seeing the continuous stare, went up to Anko and whispered in her ear to stop to stare at Hinata, to which Anko just shrugged it off and admired the view in front of her. Now at the beginning of the famous bridge that was named by no other than her boyfriend because of his team's mission against Momochi Zabuza, one of the toughest members of the 7 swordsmen of the Mist Shinobi. Anko also heard from the drunken Tazuna character that the blonde was quite famous around this region from returning the village's hope forward, creating a better place for them. Tazuna also said that because of the bridge's completion, traders and merchants from many parts of the elemental countries were able to visit the place and bring their business, thus improving the village's income. And least, but no less important, Naruto managed to save the man's grandson from depression over his father's death, and now the boy was studying engineering to be like his grandfather one day. But back to Hinata, Anko had to admit she was a little uneasy with herself from the thought of possibly fight over a man's heart with the timid girl. From what Kurenai told her, Hinata had her crush on Naruto since the academy, but was too shy to make a move, thus never able to express what she feels about him. Huh? As if Naruto would care for someone like her. I bet she couldn't even make a full sentence before stuttering like a maniac. Come to speak of it, this girl seriously need a lesson of self-confidence. Wait, that's it, thought Anko as she maybe found the reason as to why she has a crush on the blonde. Ever since growing up, the blonde never once quitted the path he chosen or whine about something being too hard. No matter what it was, Naruto would go through hell in order to accomplish what he set his mind to do. Anko knew that, and now she knew the source of Hinata's crush on the blonde. But she needed confirmation from the girl's sensei before deciding to confront the timid Hyuga, which by the way, until today, was on Anko's list of impossible things to ever occur in life. When they arrived at Tazuna's office, the Chunins were to their respective rooms, leaving Kurenai with Anko and Tsunami talking about the blonde. So, Anko-san, tell me more about Naruto-kun. The last time I saw him was 4 years ago. But I still hear his shouts of joy and determination, smiled Tsunami as she began phasing out a little bit and imagining that big grin of his that happened to bring back confidence to the village. Anko for her part, scowled at the woman but figured that from what Naruto did to this village, all Tsunami wanted to know was how their savior has been doing all these years, and the fact that Tsunami smiled when Anko told her of her relationship with the blonde, so Anko started talking with a big smile on her face. As Anko were relating her boyfriend's life so far to the brunette civilian, Kurenai couldn't help but smile at her longtime friend. Never once did she thought she would get to see Anko demonstrating pride while talking about someone she deeply cared about. She felt somewhat pity for Hinata, because of her crush for Naruto. However, not only the timid girl never make her move, but also knowing Naruto like she does now, Hinata wouldn't even be able to keep up with him. From what Kurenai knew, Naruto somehow acted like he was many years older than he is, and that fact alone proved to Kurenai that no woman his age would be able to fill in the role of his partner in life. Now looking at Anko as she was telling about how Naruto managed to trick one mind reader Kunoichi back in Konoha by having her invade the body of his clone instead of his, and that Anko finished the prank by hitting on the clone, which was now a girl named Yamanaka Ino. After hearing about this prank, Kurenai tried to hold her stomach from laughing so hard by imagining the scene being played in front of her. No way, he did this. He seemed to me such a sweet kid. I cannot imagine Naruto can thinking of something so devious like that, said Tsunami, making Kurenai and Anko stare at her like they just saw a ghost. Those who knew Naruto from the academy until graduation, knew he was a prankster at heart, but now actually hearing Tsunami say it like that, both Anko and Kurenai decided to tell a bit more about the blonde. Tsunami-san, Naruto-kun has always been somewhat of a prankster in Konoha. In fact, the one I enjoyed the most was seeing the entire Hyuga family's underwear being hanged outside their compound. It was hilarious to see their angry faces, said Anko, laughing while remembering the looks of pure hatred and even some blushes from some members. No way, Anko-kun, I'm not one to enjoy pranks, but what Naruto did to that pervert of a Sanin at the hot springs on that day nearly sent me to the hospital from laughing so much, said Kurenai, now earning Tsunami's attentions as she was learning more about the blonde enigma. Oh, nothing too fancy, just he did an academy jutsu and transformed into our Hokage. It was safe to say the man reached Iwa in record time that day. After the man set out a new limit, Naruto was there with a big grin on his face after catching yet another victim, said Anko, remembering how delighted every girl at that day from seeing the pervert gone. The man was so scared, he didn't come back until he took Naruto on a 3-year training trip, said Kurenai, making Tsunami wonder how frightening could this Tsunade be, given that someone actually pissed her off. Little did the women knew, however, that a little bug went flying away from the kitchen and landed on Shino's finger, relating everything that transpired of the conversation. Huh, I guess I won't tell Hinata about Naruto's relationship with this Anko person, it's better that she find out from the horse's mouth, thought Shino as he went back to his room to call it a night and rest. Back in Konoha, Fuutenkaze no Ngai, Wind Style, Wind Dome Jutsu, thought Naruto as he progressed through the hand seals, and then like he predicted, a dome made of wind was created in front of him. Next to him, Kakashi and Aoi watched with interest at the creation of yet another Fuuten and Jutsu. Now that Kakashi remembered, Naruto had just created the Fuuten Suidu no Tatsumaki, Wind Style, Tornado Tunnel Jutsu, and now here he was with another one being added to his arsenal. At the end of yet another week of training, Naruto managed to create the Wind Dome technique, and now he was perfecting the technique, as well as rationalizing on its uses and weaknesses. Kakashi-sensei, what do you think could be accomplished with this technique? I mean, the Earth Dome managed to extract chakra from the one captured, but this dome wouldn't do that. Asked Naruto, to which the genius Jounin turned to think about it. Other than isolating the air around the enemy, thus choking him to death, I can only imagine the enemy being torched to death, said Kakashi, earning a confused look on Naruto's face, to which Aoi decided to step in and explain. What Kakashi here is trying to say is that Fuuten element serves to enhance the power of Katen and Jutsu, therefore if someone would throw a Katen attack at the Wind Dome, the one trapped would be crisped, said Aoi, satisfying Naruto's doubt. Now, since the first jutsu was perfected, let's move on to the next. So, let's finish today's training with a Kenjutsu spar, said Aoi, before summoning his sword, to which Naruto smiled and took his own to fight. At Tsunade's office as promised, Kakashi was to give a report on Naruto's training every 2 weeks to the Hokage. Being that said, the silver-haired Jounin was in front of the blonde Hokage, relating the many physical exercises that Aoi made Naruto perform while wearing an overweight vest. While Kakashi was saying, Tsunade was getting the feeling that Aoi would try killing Naruto through physical exercises. So, you mean to tell me that Naruto had to escalate the highest peak near Konoha without the use of chakra and wearing weights? When Aoi asked permission to train Naruto, I figured he would be teaching a Funen Jutsu and eventually increase his Daijutsu/Kenjutsu abilities. I didn't think he would enhance Naruto's body mass, said Tsunade, clearly concerned since bodybuilders don't excel much as Shinobi, since most of them tend to favor strength than speed, thus getting himself killed eventually. Tsunade-sama, Naruto isn't going to become a bodybuilder. Oizen has been training him with weights so that Naruto could get accustomed to it and become faster without it. The slight increase on his muscles will only benefit him. Also, regarding ninjutsu, Aoi already taught Naruto 4 Doden ninjutsu and we're able to create a new Fuuten technique called Fuutenkaze no Ngai, Wind Style, Wind Dome Jutsu, said Kakashi, to which Tsunade smiled at yet another fruit of the boy's creativity. Another for the list, Kakashi, I thought that his Tornado Tunnel Jutsu was quite effective, but if this jutsu is what I think it is, then maybe we could promote him to Tokubutsu Jounin, specialist in the arts of Fuuten and Jutsu, said Tsunade, earning a nod from Kakashi, who agreed with the Hokage's intentions. I concur, Tsunade-sama. However, Naruto's ninjutsu abilities isn't limited to Fuuten ninjutsu alone. Other than that, his Suten and Doten knowledge exceeds most shunins of these respective elements. I would say, he has expertise on all these three elements. Another thing, Tsunade-sama, I wanted to maybe test him, if I may, asked Kakashi, to which Tsunade nodded but for Kakashi to proceed. Naruto's Kage Bunshin training can make him train in a week what I could in 3 years, so I was thinking if maybe with enough training, maybe Naruto could learn all 5 forms of elemental manipulation, said Kakashi, making Tsunade think about it for a second. It was true that way he was growing, it wouldn't be long for Naruto to be able to learn all elements, but such knowledge could overload his brain, if we're not careful. Until now, the only ones who managed all forms of manipulation was Orochimaru and Jiraiya, and those two only managed these feat a few years ago. But Naruto can multiply his training progress, thus being able to shorten the real time needed for such a feat. Thought Tsunade as she looked at the silver-haired shinobi. Kakashi, what you're talking, is dangerous. Having knowledge on all forms of elemental manipulations could overload his brain and seriously damage his body if he's not careful. Not to mention that the other 2 elements are the hardest and most unstable to control. Raiten jutsus could fry his system if he's not careful, and Kaden techniques could burn him from the inside, said Tsunade, clearly concerned over his well-being. It is best for us to wait a little bit, Tsunade-sama. Naruto has been training and doing missions non-stop. It would be wise to let him have a somewhat vacation in order for him to cool his nerves a little bit. I noticed while he was training, that his adrenaline system was on high alert, meaning he wouldn't be able to stop by will alone, said Kakashi, with his chin resting on top of his hand in a thinking position. It's possible that he will be able to learn all forms of manipulation. But as of right now, he can counter most types of elemental attacks that come after him. In time, he'll have all the experience required to learn all 5 elements. But for now, let's focus on improving his physical abilities. Let him and him alone worry about what other techniques he wishes to learn. Hell, he may have created another one as we speak, said Tsunade, however was taken aback when Kakashi's face showed her that what she said was true. He already invented another? Which one? Asked Tsunade, now clearly surprised. Kakashi for his part opted to demonstrate and made the Reikiri in front of the Hokage. Naruto is now attempting to change the Reikiri, Lightning Edge, to Kizikiri, Wind Edge. He even came with the idea for a somewhat wind drill just like the Reikiri's piercing abilities, thus trying to invent a new assassination jutsu, said Kakashi, making Tsunade smile since Kakashi's smile was quite visible despite the mask. With Naruto back with Naruto and Aoi, they were currently dueling against each other. Clangs of metal hitting metal echoed all over the valley below them. After the last attack from both sides, Naruto and Aoi were eyeing each other. Right now, the fight has begun. It never mattered how much skills one possessed while swinging his or her sword, a real sword fight pretty much ended after only one fatal hit. One strike to the heart and the fight is over. Therefore, one crucial mistake and the person won't live to regret. So, now Naruto and Aoi were staring deeply at each other in a final test of patience. Aoi did belong to a samurai clan back in Iwa, thus he knew this to be tradition between sword fighters. 10 minutes later and nothing, no sound of muscles bending indicating any possible movements. No attack intent noticeable, which meant that both warriors could hold their ground and not be intimidated by the other. However, while no sound could be heard on the outside, inside their minds, thoughts could be heard on analysis on each other's stances. Aoi was actually impressed at the kid's patience when it came to sword dueling. Naruto for his part was trying not to move on the outside, but inside he was in turmoil. In order for this exercise to be completed, Naruto would need to calm himself down and learn how to analyze the situation. Upon looking at his opponent, Naruto was simply dumbfounded at the man's ability to be still. His eyes didn't even blink, his muscles were as relaxed as if he was resting over at the hot springs. Compared to this man, Naruto was like an amateur in pretty much everything. Another 10 minutes passed and this time, Kakashi arrived. Since he knew what Aoi wanted to do with Naruto, he didn't even voice his arrival. Naruto, however, at this point, was not faring very well. A couple of sweat drops were visible on his face and his breaths weren't peace and calm anymore. Aoi, seeing this, sighed and kind of wished that the boy would be able to maintain it longer, but then again for a first time, it was acceptable to his terms. Let's stop, Naruto. From what I saw, you managed to hold your ground for quite a while, however for you to be able to win a duel like this, in no time until the attack, can you lose control of yourself like that? Next week, we'll change the course of our training. Any more physical training and your body would become too rigid, therefore lacking in speed and agility. Now, instead of training your body, we'll train your mind, said Aoi, earning a look of confusion from the blonde, to which the man chose to explain better. Right now, you're in no state of mind to truly be able to fight a tougher opponent. Remember, emotions in a fight can only lead to disaster. You attack with rage and the enemy will take advantage of that, stabbing you in the back when you least expects. You attack with fear and the enemy will kill you in a second. While on a fight, rationality and instincts are your best allies. Use rationality in order to counter ninjutsu attacks and use your instincts to see where the enemy will strike and try to anticipate his moves. Your assassin stare can only do so much to an S-ranked shinobi, until he learns to counter it and the eyes are rendered useless. Being that said, we'll change our training area to where all three of us first meet, at the river. There, you'll learn how to be in peace with your mind and spirit, thus being able to take on tougher opponents. Now, it's getting late, so head home and tomorrow we'll meet again at the training ground near the river, said Aoi, to which Naruto nodded and turned to leave. After he left, Kakashi went towards the ex-Iwa shinobi. Do you think he can achieve such state of mind, being a Jinchuriki? Asked Kakashi, to which Aoi nodded and turned to reply. Of course, it will be tougher for him than it is for most. Even if he could somehow calm his spirit for some time, it's not enough for him to be able to be calm during a fight to the death against either Akatsuki or Orochimaru. Also, the fox complicates things a lot. Naruto will have to learn how to ignore the kitsune's ramblings inside his head for him to be able to complete this exercise. Kakashi, this is important for him, so let's concentrate the third week solely on meditation and analytical exercises. The Kizikiri will be for the last week of his training, said Aoi, to which Kakashi nodded and smiled, thinking that Naruto would get to have at least a whole week of relaxation.
That's it for this video. I hope you all enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and follow me on my other social media accounts. Anime God here, and I'm signing off.